So today I watched 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Now I kind of want to talk about it real quick, what I thought about it and stuff. So just for one, I want to give you a little bit of context. So I I love zombie movies. TV shows, I don't know. But I've always liked zombie movies. And 28 Years Later, 28 Days Later, 20 Weeks, I like those films. 28 Days Later, I mean, yeah, it's good, but for indie film, I quite liked it. 28 weeks, just okay. Just okay. It didn't have that feel. And 28 years later, I watched it a year ago, I think. I don't remember when I watched it last, but I really liked it. I really liked, J. Cole Colony and you know, Taylor Johnson. I forgot his name, but I actually forgot a lot of things. In terms of a zombie movie, I liked it. It was somewhat unique and different from what the stuff we've been getting recently. And then here comes 20 years later, The Bone Temple. I knew they were making another one because but a spoiler warning. I knew that they're making another one mainly because of the what is it? The ending of 20 years later. Yeah, it was kind of annoying that they had a cliffhanger, but oh well, right? Oh well. So I liked how the pacing worked. Or not pacing, more like how everything was sequenced. You cut between the two teams. One is Ian and one is the Jimmys. And the kid, I know that he won an Emmy, and yeah, he's a very good actor. He has a good future ahead of him. But I like the way they paced it, or yeah, you know what I mean. And throughout the movie, you got all these things happening and whatnot, and eventually they all meet up at the very very end. And I like the way they did it. Ow, you piece of shit. Yeah, at the end, they meet, and then the climax happens. Now, again, I liked how they kind of did it. But one thing that's really stood out to me is how like the Sir Jimmy, how he played. Damn, how he played out. So like, I'm not saying I like this character, but at the same, he wasn't necessarily hateable to me. He was like kind of more of an annoyance. That's probably just me, maybe, but I just found him annoying. But like, when he died, I was like, nice. Oh well. But overall complaints, I didn't have much complaints. It's just I wish everything was in one movie, mainly because I don't like, it's 28 days later, 28 weeks later, 28 years later, and then 28 years later again. But again, it's good, so what can I say? One of the bigger things I liked about the film is it looked and felt like a film. Because one thing I have an issue with films these days is some films, right? They're just too high quality. They mainly focus on the quality. So you have close-up shots of people's faces, and you can just see every bit of skin. There's no film grain. It looks like a video. But this movie, I'm pretty sure it was shot with iPhones again, but it looked like a film. There was a film grain and there was close-up shots, but you couldn't see every single detail on their faces. That was a big plus for me. So Ian's character of making a cure, like, I never liked it when zombie movies do cures because it goes two ways. One, it's just really easily done and like no there wasn't any put work in it, or it's just like stupid. This time it was like it felt like not really a relief. It was like, oh damn. So he's the one who finds it, huh? And it was so simple too. That he explained it, like how like the zombies were seeing stuff and all that, and all those chemicals he used they were just all antibiotics. And at the end, he was fully cured. Not and it worked as a vaccine. So his blood is also a vaccine. So I think the whole cure thing was dealt fairly well. And also Ian's character, I quite liked him. So about the music in the film, of course, the soundtrack was glorious. I like the soundtrack. It was very different. But one thing is, they had Duran Duran, Iron Maiden, and Iron Maiden, Radiohead. They used Radiohead's everything in its right place. I mean, yeah, I mean it's I wouldn't say it's overused, but I've heard it so many times in films. They could have gone some different, but oh well, right? Uh, for Iron Maiden, they use it for the what is it? Defeating, well, Ian posed himself as the devil to trick these Satanists, and eventually kill the main Satanist, which is Sir Jimmy, which Loki was somewhat, even though I didn't hate the character, it was somewhat satisfying because he was kind of annoying. Just kind of annoying. And I ended up saving the kid and that kind of stuff. And he played Iron Maiden. That scene was kind of fun. It was just fun. And for Duran Duran, actually Duran Duran came up a few times, but every single song played except for Radiohead, it was all through a radio, not radio, record player. I mean, yeah, that's kind of basic, but I like how it's portrayed. Like even in, when times are not great, he still has music. So you know, I feel like that was a nice touch. So it's Duran Duran. I'm a big fan of Duran Duran, so you know. But overall, I did like the film, and the ending though. The one thing that really stood out to me from the first 28 years later, or 28 blah 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 trilogy, is that the soundtrack of the first film, and also its overall look, but the soundtrack, it was so simple, but it sounded so good. And in the end, you got Cillian Murphy coming back. Probably did give him a bunch of money probably to come back, but I like him as an actor, and we all wanted him back, so I'm not complaining. And then at the end, like as soon as I saw the daughter, well, kind of the daughter, I wonder if the wife is okay or the girlfriend. I don't know what you call it. I hope she's okay. I think she's okay, but as soon as I saw her, I was like, I knew that it was Cillian Murphy. And then he started talking, and I was like, oh damn, that's him. Of course, like I wasn't surprised. I knew, I have a good feeling that he would come back. And when the soundtrack of the first one played, I got shivers. Like I genuinely, it's it's not really nostalgia in a way, but imagine like you have a song that you've loved all your life, and then you hear it in a film. It was kind of like that. It was such a joy, like just seeing it, hearing it in the theater. Yeah, but yeah, I'm excited for the third one. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the last one. And yeah, I think that's all I got to say. I mean, in terms of my rating, it's like an 8 out of 10. Like solid 8, maybe 7.8, mainly because of the whole cliffhanger bit. But yeah, that's my rating. I hope to see the end, the ending will be really, really good for the next film.